All right, good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. We have two commissioners absent this evening, Commissioner Hudson and Commissioner Megden. First of all, item number 2 on the agenda, citizen communication. The Capital Improvement Advisory Committee welcomes comment on items relevant to the Capital Improvement Advisory Committee not already scheduled on tonight's agenda. In accordance with the Texas Attorney General's opinion, any public comment that is made on an item that is not on the published agenda will only be heard by the committee. No formal action, discussion, deliberation, or comment will be made by the committee. Each person providing public comment will be limited to 3 minutes and will be asked to state his or her name and address for the public record. Is there anyone present wishing to address the committee this evening? Seeing none, we will move on to item 3 on the agenda, the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine by the advisory committee and will be enacted by one motion. If any committee member desires to discuss an item on the consent agenda, it will be moved to the regular agenda for further consideration. Are there any committee members wishing to remove an item from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I will accept a motion to approve. Sorry, I don't actually have a listing of the items on the. We are approving the committee minutes from the August 5th, 2024 meeting.
I move that we approve item 3A on the consent agenda.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None? All right, motion passes. All right, item number 4, discuss and consider. So this is a presentation. Wait, nope, no discuss and consider. Item number 5, presentation. We will have a semi-annual report regarding progress of the city's capital improvement plan.
Hi, good evening. My name is Abby Morrison. I am the Public Works Services Director. Tonight, we are here to present a semi-annual capital improvement plan update per the Section 395 of the Texas Local Government Code. This report reflects the projects outlined in the annual CIP that you all review and approve every year. We're excited to share the progress on these projects. So I'll do a quick program overview and then turn it over to the team to share their specific project progress updates. So currently we have 68 active projects across 7 programs, all in various stages from preliminary design all the way through construction. This is a large lift, our project managers are really working hard. There's approximately 9 project managers that are managing this large load, and so they are doing great delivering these projects. So a large part of our successful program and project management involves collaboration with surrounding entities and federal partners. These partnerships are essential for securing resources and aligning our regional priorities. So all of our projects, or a lot of them, we do have to work with those outside entities and create those relationships to get these projects done. And lastly, following up with program development. So as our city continues to grow, strategic planning for current and future needs remains essential. To support the growth, we are actively updating 3 master plans, all expected to be complete within the next year. So that's our water and wastewater master plan, as well as our mobility master plan. And we will also have a facilities master plan, a citywide facilities master plan kicking off soon that we're excited about. The plans are vital as they inform our annual CIP and require updates every 3 to 5 years to stay aligned with our community's needs. So now do y'all have any questions for me? All right, so each team will now walk through their updates on their projects, starting with utilities, led by Brandon Pritchett, our Public Utilities Director.
Good evening, Commissioners. Again, Brandon Pritchett, Utility Director for the city. So I'll be giving you a quick rundown of some of the large capital improvement projects that are currently underway and that have been underway for a while, as well as some that are on the current horizon. So as you're all aware, if you've gone anywhere up and down Weiss Lane, you can see the construction activity. You've got the water treatment plant expansion project. That's occurring both on the east side of Weiss Lane and at the lake pump station on the west side near the lake. This is currently in active construction, and it will be until May of 2026 for final completion. So just a quick progression of construction itself. As you can see, that's the site right after starting construction at the site. And then if I can make sure, there we go. And then as we've gone through construction over the past 18 months, you'll start to see everything start to take shape. So those cranes are actually doing things and not just picking things up and moving them around. So we're actively building a lot of the pretreatment structures, which is at the very front where that crane is situated there, as well as a lot of the clarifiers that are in the back of the property. So as you can see, we've really started to go vertical with a lot of the structures. All of the yard piping, the majority of the yard piping has been put in. So there's a lot of yard piping that's a part of this expansion, as well as electrical duct banks and a lot of different process piping as well. So as you can see, there's a significant amount of construction activity that's happened, with a lot of facility or construction milestones being hit, that are going to be hit over the next 6 months as well. So another large project that y'all have heard us talk about significantly is the secondary Colorado River raw water line. This is a 15-mile pipeline and a pump station expansion at the city's raw water source in South Austin. This was recently approved at the most recent city council meeting for construction. Expected to break ground in the next couple months, with an anticipated completion of multiple phases of this, with the first one completing in February 2026, with the remainder of the 3 contracts, with 2 of the other contracts completing in May of 2026, right before summer demand. The third of our we have 3 massive CIP projects in the utilities. The third one is the Wilbarger Regional Wastewater Treatment Facility. So as a recap, this is a greenfield wastewater treatment facility that serves the Wilbarger Sewer Shed, which is everything east of SH 130. This serves Wilbarger Sewer Shed currently, and also will serve the Cottonwood Sewer Shed, which are wastewater CCN. I can't remember if we've probably been over this millions of times at this point, but that goes all the way out to FM 973 at New Sweden Church Road. So we have an extensive wastewater sewer shed that we have to serve within our CCN. So this kicked off construction. This kicked off construction in February of 2024, so this year. And you can see there's work going on currently, but right now we're focusing on deep yard piping that this facility has, as well as sinking of what's called the caisson, which is the influent lift station where all the wastewater comes in. That's starting to sink. That has to go about 70 feet into the ground, so they have to sink it in 10-foot increments, and they have to do that very carefully to not have the whole collapse on them. So a lot of that work is happening currently, as well as yard piping as well. One that serves the Wilbarger wastewater treatment plant is the pipe that makes its way to it, which is the Wilbarger Creek wastewater interceptor. So this interceptor goes all the way from the Carmel lift station on Pleasanton, right at the end of Pleasanton Road near the Carmel subdivision, and it serves all the way down to the wastewater treatment facility to convey all of that flow to the south. This was it was recently bid out, and with an anticipated award of council at the next council meeting in November 12th.
Could I ask you a quick question on that
You
one?
absolutely.
I see in the sheet that we have not completed final right-of-way acquisition. Has that been cleared at this point? I think it says.
This one has been cleared, yes, sir.
Okay.
So all of the easements have been acquired, closed on as well. Travis County permit, which is a pretty big milestone in the large pipelines like this, has been achieved as well.
Got it. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So while those are the big 3, with that interceptor being one that facilitates one of those big 3, we also have a significant amount of smaller projects in design that will be going to construction over the next 2 years, or the next year even. So a lot of these, I won't go through them all to save y'all the boredom of it all, but there's a significant amount of projects that are in design that are on this table, but also on this map, as you've probably seen before. So there's a lot of interior lines, there's rehabilitation projects going on. We just finished one in Pflugerville Estates, with another one anticipated to go to design within the next couple months for the Gatlinburg neighborhood to replace aging infrastructure as well. So while we focus a lot on capital improvements going forward, what our community is going to need to be able to serve that development, water and wastewater, we also need to look at our aging infrastructure that needs to be replaced, that has outlived its life expectancy.
You mentioned on a previous slide that some of the facilities are being decommissioned.
Yes.
Are there any facilities that are going to be entirely decommissioned, that we're not going to use that particular plot anymore, or
Sure.
is it all just pieces of equipment that are being decommissioned?
So as part of, I'm going to go back a couple more. So as part of the Wilbarger wastewater treatment plant, and this Wilbarger wastewater interceptor, as well as a couple of interceptors on this. We're decommissioning a significant amount of lift stations, so wastewater lift stations. So that way we're not pumping wastewater over, we're minimizing the city's risk on pumping wastewater, which has its challenges. So that decommissioning is, while the site will be gone, everything will be out of the site, we'll also be conveying wastewater pipes through those. So it's not like I would recommend building a house on top of that or something. But I mean, to each their own. We probably won't be looking to sell those properties after we decommission them, though.
Okay.
I have a, actually, that map is great.
Oh, okay.
So for just kind of, in your understanding, I don't know how much you keep in comparison to other communities of our size. So 70 to, say, 100,000 people in the state. Would you say that we have a lot going on comparatively, or is everybody that's in the growth phase experiencing the same level of, very intense, large-scale, both water, wastewater projects?
I think it depends on where you're at. So the hard part is where you at geographically. So when we look at like Pflugerville's growth, you can compare it to places like Kyle, Hutto, where they have this exponential growth that they have to serve, and they have to be able to invest heavily into their water wastewater CIP. Whereas they assumed that 10 years ago, no, that's not coming to us. We don't have to serve this whole area. Now we're going, no, it's coming, and it's coming right now. So I think we're kind of in line. While we're a larger city than those two examples, we're kind of facing the same pressures that they are, just maybe not at a different magnitude. Just given that we have a larger geographical area than those two other ones.
Understood. Thank you.
So with that, I'm going to move over to water wastewater. If you want to talk water wastewater, I'm happy to do it all day. But if not, I did want to mention that we're also.
Sorry, could I ask one more question? So water and wastewater all day. So I wanted to ask, what are a couple of the biggest risks that you all are tracking, and especially with the plant expansion and obviously the new and on Wilbarger?
So risks are gonna. So let's deal with wastewater plant first. The biggest one is going to be schedule. So of course, everyone once you announce to the world that you're building a wastewater plant, magically everyone's like, I want to develop this property right now, because now we have a way for them to convey flow. Right, we have this massive capacity that we're investing in. So I think keeping to that schedule is a massive risk on the wastewater that we're tracking, to make sure that the contractor stays on board or on schedule, and make sure
Hope it's not an onboard issue.
It's not on board, yeah.
Okay.
But making sure they're still on board with the schedule, right? That we're already committed to the schedule. They know what it is, and they know what the city's pressures are and the city's risk is. And the same can be said for something like the raw water line, the 15-mile pipeline. The schedule on that is we've got a little bit of float on there where we have a little bit more comfort, but it's trying to get through that risk because it's such a large geographical area. You get 15 miles. We have City of Austin jurisdiction, we have Travis County jurisdiction, we have our own jurisdiction that we have to maintain, as well as there's a lot of new endangered species that are coming to light, that are going to be coming to light, and we want to make sure to get ahead of that as quick as we can. So that for the long pipeline projects is something that we're kind of trying to mitigate that risk by doing early clearing to minimize any kind of endangered species habitat disruption that we can. But a lot of the ones we have are mainly schedule, and making sure we can meet those schedules that we intend to meet with them.
Yeah. Thank you.
Maybe piggybacking on that, for schedule controlled, is it more of a carrot or a stick thing? Is there LDs and other stuff? Or
There's both.
Yeah. Okay.
It's mostly, I think it's a lot of communication in the front end and making sure that you set the expectation that here's where we are. But there's a stick at the end of that, of course. No one wants to have the stick, right? But yeah, the LDs on all of our contracts are extensive, and it depends on what the project is will dictate how much those LDs are.
Gotcha.
So moving water, wastewater over facilities. I did want to give an update on the Public Works Complex. I know we mentioned it before. We came here for a rezoning previously for P&Z. This project is hoping to be able to break ground at the first part of calendar year 2025. So just as a reminder, this is just east of the current water treatment plant on the future East Pflugerville Parkway. So the current facility is at construction design or construction development, construction drawings that have just been submitted to us to hopefully be able to break ground on site development at the beginning of this year. And for Downtown East, I think Emily's got an update in December for Downtown East as well that she'll be able to give to y'all for a facility update.
Do you feel pretty good about the Public Works complex and getting those bids back and being able to start
So we
next year?
already have a CMAR on board, so construction
Okay.
manager at risk. So I think they're fairly confident in being able to move forward. I think the biggest ones that we're mitigating risk on a couple different fronts, a couple different risk points that are pretty minor but still risks overall. I don't think we're as concerned about being able to go to get bids on this with trade partners, given that it's I would say it's a simple project, but from our normal standard of I have a ton of pipes in the ground to I'm just going vertical, it's a little simpler and there's a lot more trades available to be able to do it.
Okay.
And with that, questions, water, wastewater, public works complex, I'm happy to answer. If not, I'm going to turn it over to Evan to talk roads, streets. So, appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey everybody, my name's Evan Rochelle. I'm the Operations Director for Public Works, so all things not Brandon, not water or wastewater, I have a hand in. And tonight I'm kind of gonna go over our current construction projects coming up, construction, what we're designing now and what we're gonna be planning to design. So these are our major projects that are currently underway. Y'all probably have noticed Colorado Sand Drive being extended, and that's on schedule to be completed in November 2025. Street reconstruction package 2, that should be done this month. That's a big residential project. Kelly Lane Phase 2, I'm sure y'all are well aware of that one also. We're about 50% complete with that. So running relatively on schedule with all projects there. Coming up, we have Piccadilly, Central, Commerce, and Royston project. That bid opening took place about October 28th, if I'm not mistaken. We have a couple of bidders for that. We're taking that to council at the second meeting in November or the first in December, so we're still evaluating our bids. Street reconstruction package 3, we're actually taking that to council on the 12th to recommend award for a contract. The historic colored edition, that's been a long time coming project. Finally have traction, and we're going to begin that one in January. And then street reconstruction package 3 in yellow, that's actually package 1B, neighborhood street reconstruction. That should start in spring 2025. And then East Pflugerville Parkway, there'll be an extension from Wise Lane to Jesse Bowles. That design's complete, and we're just kind of working out some permit review with with Travis County so we can get that one moving forward.
Is the reason they're like packaged because you're trying to get a single bid on all those projects at the same time?
Yeah. And then projects currently in design. You'll notice that there's new roads highlighted in yellow. What's really big about those is if we think about 685, we need to have relief routes. Okay, if we're going to address things along 685, addressing the relief routes east and west of that prior to 685 work, we don't want to add to congestion issues. So that's why we're trying to plan it in a wise way so that we have little impact. In upcoming design, additional new roads, again, speaking to relief routes along 685. Good. I kind of flew through that transportation stuff. The gist is there's lots of projects. We're moving on a lot of them. They're either currently in design, we know when they're going to start design, or they're in construction. And I can answer any questions you might have, and also have our traffic transportation engineer here as well, if there's any specific questions that I can answer.
I was curious if we've made any further progress on the SH-45 frontage road. I know for a while we've been trying to work with TxDOT on the revenue agreements and that sort of thing. Has that moved at all?
Well, where we are with it, just to provide a little bit of background, the city of Round Rock and the city of Pflugerville have both agreed to partner on that project. We've met and discussed. So the city actually, we updated the engineer's report for that project just to provide new information to council, and I believe we did that about a year ago. But the issue still stands at Round Rock. understandably is a little bit hesitant on moving forward with engineering and design if we don't have a green light to where we can actually construct. That's the problem. So the city of Pflugerville took a leadership approach, and I actually got with our engineers, got a proposal for design and engineering and services during construction. We met with the city of Round Rock, went over all the documents, and discussed it, but again, the hesitancy to enter into an interlocal agreement with Round Rock and move forward with engineering and design is the revenue loss fee. And what we have done, I believe it's a part of the legislation, our legislative effort at this point.
Thank you.
The crossing of 130 at Row Lane, that kind of feels like a big one. How far on the horizon is that?
Katie might be able to speak to that. I think we've evaluated that crossing, and I know there's different people as a part of that conversation, and I felt we understand that the cost is a lot higher than anticipated, so we're still talking through that. And if we can't achieve the mobility from a crossing, then we're looking at other alternatives.
Would that change what happens on the other side, or would you probably still do the surface streets like number 20, I guess, on that map?
Let's see.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That might be a better question for Katie.
That opens up quite a bit of development space up there. Right?
Hi, I'm Katie Cam, the Assistant Director of Traffic and Transportation. So for Row Lane on the west side, is that where your question is? What's happening?
Yeah, kind of the crossing, and then whether that happens or not due to budget, if that affects what happens on Row Lane on the other side.
Yeah, it was budget. In addition, on the west side, there's a little bit of a gap between the TxDOT right-of-way and the city full purpose. That's Travis County, and that's also a low priority roadway connection for them, so we have a gap there. On the west side, past the Travis County section, there's a lot of development coming in along that section, and we are having them plat Row Lane there. And for the one that's closest to State Highway 130, we're having them design a roundabout to have a terminus, so if we ever do get that extension, we can get that roadway connection through the Travis County to the State Highway 130 frontage road.
Okay. Thank you.
If there's no other questions, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff Lachey, the Assistant Director of Park and Rec.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Jeff Lachey. I'm the Assistant Director of Parks and Recreation. I'm going to do the same, though I'm going to cover the fun projects. Sorry, Evan and Brandon. All right, so we've got a lot of projects either underway or kind of on the docket. So I'm going to cover some of the highlights here. So right now, Wilbarger Creek Park Phase 2 is at 75% complete on construction. We're really excited about this project because this is going to create a connection from what is currently Wilbarger Creek Park to down south to North Cascades Avenue, I believe it is. This is going to include some trail connections, not just trail connections. It's also going to have some trail space that goes along Wilbarger Creek and is a really enjoyable walking, riding, running experience for folks. It's also got additional parking, restrooms, and what we're calling a regional dog park. So going above and beyond what a normal dog park would see. So you got a lot of features that people are traveling out of town to take their dogs to, and now with this one, they won't have to. So we're really excited about this project. I've got a few photos of kind of what I'm talking about with that trail connection that goes along the creek. And then on the left side there, that is our dog park. So there's going to be a lot of play amenities for dogs. There's going to be a mixture of decomposed granite, natural turf, and then artificial turf. So we're really excited about what that's going to offer to the community. We're looking at completion for this in January, so we're really close. 1849 Park, if any of you've got kids that are participating in sports at 1849 Park, you may have noticed that construction has started on Phase 2. So we are a measly 5% complete there. But they are working really hard to get that going in a pretty quick timeline. So this project includes additional parking, 2 baseball fields, 1 softball field, and an event lawn. And with that, there'll also be a playground, concessions, restrooms. There'll be space for food trucks with hookups for that if we want to do that. and then some trail extensions from what is phase 1 of 1849 to what will be phase 2. And you've got a rendering of what that's going to look like here when we get to that point. I don't know what's happening. I'm really loud now. Another phase of our CIP projects are just trail improvements. So we had a lot of parks, trail spaces that were decomposed granite. And so part of our ADA transition plan is to transition those to concrete. So we've done that at several places this year. Heritage Park, Zola Park, and Cambridge Estates Linear Park have all seen their DG trails transition to concrete. And then we've got Cambridge Heights Park upcoming. So these photos here on the left, that's Heritage Park. And then on the right, that's Zola Park, which if y'all are familiar with Zola Park, that's also undergoing a transformation. The playground's getting completely renovated. It's up and pretty close to being open, so it looks a little different than that photo there. But it's in a pretty good spot. And so then just kind of future park development. So Murchison Park, we are currently bidding that project. So we expect to get started on construction really soon. Kelly Lane Park is at 85% design completion. So we're, again, pretty close to bidding out that part. These are all part of our bond. So Piccadilly Park is on hold because of some drainage issues, but we're pretty close to being through with that design, as long as we can figure out some of those issues that we're working through on Piccadilly Park. Our historic elevated tank park site, or our Old Town Park master plan, several of you have served on the steering committee for that. We've had one meeting, and so you're all invited to serve on those meetings if you can make it in the future. We've done a lot of public engagement on this project. There's a lot of interest in this project. We were at Rock the Block, we were at Deutschenfest, and last Tuesday we were out at the park site to hopefully alleviate some concerns and get some engagement from the folks that live directly adjacent to that area. So we're still continuing to try to get survey responses on that, trying to get as much input on that master plan process as we can. And then destination play space, the design process for that is set to start in early 2025. And our destination play space is a little bit more than just a regular park. So think, if you're familiar, Peace Park, the Alliance Children's Garden in downtown Austin. So we're really trying to make a space that people, again, it's a regional draw. It's for folks across the city. It's something they're willing to drive to, and might even bring some folks from other communities in because of its quality. And that concludes my presentation. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
I don't think I have a question, but one comment I did want to say that I was really happy to see all of the shade structures and those largely get finished. I've certainly seen more people out in the middle of the day at a couple of parks near me now that those have been installed. And the other recent improvement that I've not seen anyone actually use yet, but I've seen people checking it out, are the bicycle repair stations along the trails.
Yes.
I think that's a great new amenity for folks who don't want to get stuck out there and need to pump up a flat or replace something. So I've seen some folks start to take a look at that as well. So really appreciate y'all continuing to improve the experience beyond just all of the really cool new stuff that you have in the plan here.
Yeah, the bike repair stations are one of those amenities that you don't know it's there until you need it. And so people are going to be really excited about that. But yeah,
Definitely.
Shane would probably be pretty disappointed to see that I didn't include that by the end of this year, our playgrounds are going to reach fully shaded. So we'll have every playground shaded, and the average age of our playgrounds will be under 5 years. We've got one more playground to do before the end of this year, and we'll reach that goal. So we're very excited about that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I just want to say to you and to all the staff here that we've gone through this quickly in 30 minutes, but this represents hours and hours and hours of staff work, education, college degrees that they're probably still paying student loans on. And I am just so appreciative of the quality of staff that we have here in the city of Pflugerville, and I applaud you all.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thanks. Everybody? All right, fantastic. Then we're ready to adjourn at 7 p.m. Thank you.
The relationship between law enforcement and the community is so important, and National Night Out is a way for us to get to know more of you